Come on. Feel the burn. Be the burn. Yes, sir. One more, Andrew. One more. Just do one more. One more than that. Come on. Come on, Andrew. There's no gain if there isn't any pain. Keep going. Come on. Come on, Andrew. The higher the knees, the happier the bees.
All right.
Wait a second. Andrew, why are you training again?
So I'll never be afraid again.
Oh, Andrew. You've got it all wrong. There's another better reason why you don't have to be afraid. Come, let me speak. You see, Andrew, God is all-powerful, and He is there to protect you. And He even has helpers called angels, which I'm sure you've heard about, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and angels have a specific purpose that God gives them. Some angels are warrior angels, and I'm going to tell you more about that in a Bible story. Get ready! Hey guys, so like I said, we're going to be talking about angels today. Now, some of you guys might think of angels as like the cute little babies that fly around, but that is not actually what an angel is. Angels are God's helpers, and they have very specific purposes. Like Gabriel, some of you guys might know him, he told Mary that Mary was going to have baby Jesus. He was one of God's messenger angels. His job was to send messages. Now, there's other types of angels, like the cherubim and the seraphim, and God has mighty warrior angels. And I'm going to tell you one of my favorite stories about God's mighty warriors that He sends to help fight for us. All right, so in the Bible, in 2 Kings chapter 6, something crazy happens. One of God's friends, his name is Elisha. Now, Elisha loved God, and he talked to God all the time. And he was hanging out in this city, and all of a sudden, a bunch of people were gonna attack that city. And they were camping out in a spot where nobody could see them. And now the king of the city, he was pretty afraid because he didn't want to get attacked. He wanted the city to stay strong. But remember, like I said, Elisha, he was always talking to God. And God was showing Elisha where the other warriors were hanging out. So every time they would hide and get ready to attack, Elisha would talk to God, and God would say, "Oh, they're right here." And then they would move, and they'd hide somewhere else, like maybe behind a really large rock, so no one could see him. But God would still talk to Elisha, and Elisha would know, "Oh, they're right over here." And then Israel would know exactly where to put their armies so that they would stay safe. Now, the armies full of these angry Armenians, they were not happy. They had the angry eyebrows. They were very upset because they were like, "We're just trying to attack you, but you keep finding out our secret hiding space." And one of them was like, "Maybe there's a spy." But then another guy was like, "You know what? I heard about this dude named Elisha. And Elisha talks to his God. And he keeps finding out where we are." And so they were like, "Ugh, man, we don't want to attack this city anymore. We're going to attack Elisha himself." So Elisha, he actually went to a different city close by in the same country. And he was hanging out in his home, and he was talking to God still because he loved God. And one day, all of a sudden, his servant comes running and is like, "Elisha! Ah!" And he's probably screaming his head off because he was really scared. Because all of those angry men who wanted to attack the city were now all surrounding where Elisha was. And I don't know about you, but if I saw a huge army surrounding my house, I would be a little bit scared. But you know what? Elisha, he wasn't scared. And you know why? Because he trusted God. And also, he knew something super awesome that his servant didn't know yet. His servant was like, ah! And then Elisha asked God to show the servant what Elisha could see. And all of a sudden, the servant could see the fiery chariots that were surrounding them. And in those fiery chariots were God's warriors, angels. They were fighting for them. And so Elisha and the servant were completely safe because God was fighting for them. He sent his angels to protect them all around them. And then Elisha asked God to blind the men so they could no longer see and they couldn't fight them anymore. And that's what happened. The angels just blinded them, and then they were fine. And, you know, some of the people who were around Elisha were like, oh man, now's our chance. We should take him out now. But Elisha was like, nah, let's not do that. Instead, let's give him a big feast and send him home with a full belly. So they probably have like some chicken and maybe grapes because they have lots of grapes over there. And maybe even some olives because they do have lots of olives over there. That's a grape. And, you know, it was just super awesome because even though it seems like Elisha and his servant were all alone and they were surrounded and it seemed like a really scary situation, God was right there with them, even though the servant couldn't see it until Elisha asked God if he could see it. And God protected them and kept them safe because our God is an amazing God. And he sends his angels to protect us in situations like that. Super awesome. All right, guys, it's so awesome learning a little bit more about what God's angels do. I will see you guys next time. Bye.